My girlfriend said, "It's just physical." I replied, "Then start packing." Then I sent his wife the screenshots and emailed HR. She still had no idea they were both waiting at that company lunch. All right, Reddit, this one's a doozy. My girlfriend cheated with her married boss, tried to justify it as just physical, so I documented everything, coordinated with his wife, and showed up at their company lunch. Neither of them saw it coming. Here's how 4 years collapsed in one afternoon and why I have zero regrets. I'm Vincent, 33 male, and I work in network security for a hospital system outside Chicago. It's one of those jobs that sounds more exciting than it is. Mostly monitoring systems, running security audits, making sure some ransomware group doesn't lock down our patient records. I spend my days staring at logs, responding to security alerts, and occasionally explaining to doctors why they can't use password 123 for accessing patient files. Stable work, decent pay, benefits that actually matter when you're in your 30s and thinking long-term. I'm the kind of guy who meal preps on Sundays. Chicken, rice, and vegetables in neat little containers that'll last me through Wednesday. I have a standing gym schedule: Monday, Wednesday, Friday after work, Saturday mornings. I keep my streaming subscriptions organized in a spreadsheet because paying for services I'm not using drives me insane. My apartment is clean, but not obsessive. My car gets regular oil changes. I file my taxes early. Boring? Maybe. But it works for me. And I've never apologized for being the stable, reliable guy. My dad raised me that way. He's a retired postal worker who spent 30 years delivering mail in the same neighborhood, saved enough to retire at 62, and now spends his days woodworking in his garage and spoiling my sister's kids. Vincent, he told me when I was in college, boring men pay their bills on time and sleep well at night. Exciting men get to explain themselves to judges and creditors. That wisdom stuck. My girlfriend Natalie, 31 female, was the opposite in all the ways that seemed good at first. She worked in marketing at a mid-sized manufacturing company downtown, one of those places that makes industrial parts nobody thinks about. But every factory needs always dressed sharp in blazers and heels, talked fast like her brain was 3 steps ahead of her mouth, had 3 ongoing projects at any given time. Where I was steady, she was dynamic. Where I planned, she improvised. For 4 years, it balanced out in ways that felt healthy. We split rent on a small townhouse in the suburbs, alternated cooking nights, and had settled into that comfortable phase where you stop trying to impress each other and just exist together. We met through a mutual friend's housewarming party. I was helping the host assemble furniture because apparently, some assembly required is code for engineering degree recommended. Natalie showed up late with expensive bottles and immediately started rearranging the living room layout because the flow was all wrong. We ended up talking for 3 hours about everything from city planning to the best Chicago pizza places. She was sharp, funny, didn't take herself too seriously. I liked that she challenged me without being combative. Our first year was solid. We'd hit restaurants on weekends, alternate picking movies, have those deep 2 a.m. conversations about our future. She talked about climbing the marketing ladder, maybe starting her own agency one day. I talked about eventually moving into management, maybe teaching some cybersecurity courses at community college. Normal relationship stuff, building something together, aligning our paths. No kids, no marriage plans. We'd talked about it vaguely, but never seriously. She wanted to hit certain career milestones first. "I need to establish myself before I'm someone's wife," she'd said once after a friend's wedding. "I don't want to be defined by my relationship status." I respected that. I was fine waiting. We had time, or so I thought. My buddy Carter met her early on and gave his assessment. "She's cool, but she's got that hungry energy, like she's always looking for the next thing." I brushed it off as him being cynical after his own breakup. Turns out Carter's instincts were better than mine. Natalie's boss was a guy named Trevor, mid-40s, married with 2 kids, according to the family photo on his desk that she'd shown me once on video chat. I met him exactly once, at a company summer picnic about a year into our relationship. Firm handshake, loud laugh, expensive watch, the kind of guy who dominates conversations without realizing he's doing it. He spent 20 minutes telling me about his weekend golf game, while Natalie stood there smiling and nodding. I remember thinking he was exhausting but harmless. The kind of middle management type who peaked in college and now compensates by talking over everyone. Natalie talked about Trevor constantly. "Trevor thinks this campaign could be groundbreaking. Trevor really believes in my potential. Trevor says I'm the most creative person on the team." At first, I was glad she had a boss who recognized her work. Most people complain about their managers. Having one who actually supported her seemed like a win. My own boss communicated primarily through automated emails and the occasional good job post-it note, so a manager who gave actual feedback seemed great by comparison. Then things started shifting, so gradually I almost didn't notice. It's like when you walk the same route every day and one day realize a tree you passed 1,000 times is gone, but you can't remember when it disappeared. The late nights became more frequent. Last-minute client presentation. She'd text at 7 p.m. when I was halfway through cooking dinner for both of us. Trevor needs me to stay and brainstorm. I'd eat alone, save her a plate, and she'd come home around 10 or 11, pick at the cold food, and scroll through her phone while I tried to talk about my day. When I'd ask about the presentation, she'd give vague answers. Oh, it went fine. You know how these things are. I didn't actually, but I let it slide. She started coming home with expensive bottles from client gifts. Not cheap stuff either. We're talking $80 to $100 bottles of wine that came with fancy labels and leather boxes. Trevor insisted I take this one, she'd say, setting it down on our kitchen counter like it was completely normal. The client gave him 3 and he doesn't like red wine. I remember thinking it was weird that clients were giving gifts that expensive, but Natalie explained it was normal in manufacturing. These companies have huge budgets for relationship building, she said. Made sense at the time. The work dinners multiplied. Networking events, industry mixers, strategy sessions. Every other week there was some function she had to attend. I'd offer to come along sometimes. It's really boring, she'd say. Just industry people talking shop. You'd hate it. So I'd stay home, catch up on my shows, and wait for her to get back. She'd come home smelling like expensive restaurants and tell me about all the tedious conversations she'd had. Looking back, the details were always fuzzy. Her phone, which used to sit face up on the coffee table during movies, migrated to face down positions. It would buzz after midnight. Just the team group chat, she'd mumble, rolling over. Once I joked that her marketing team must never sleep if they're messaging at 1 a.m. She didn't laugh, just said something about time zones and international clients. We weren't international, but okay. I started noticing smaller things too. New lingerie that never made an appearance for me. A perfume I didn't recognize that wasn't there when she left for work, but was when she came home. Business trips that got extended by a day or two because the client wanted an extra meeting. A personal training membership she signed up for, but never seemed to use despite leaving the house in workout clothes. Carter asked me once during a game night if everything was okay with Natalie. She seems distracted lately, he said, keeping his eyes on the screen, like her mind's somewhere else. I defended her, said she was stressed about work, going for a promotion, normal stuff. He didn't push it, just said, all right, man, just checking. But the comment stuck with me. One Tuesday in early March, she dropped the Saturday bomb casually, like she was mentioning she'd be late for dinner. Hey, so I've got this off-site strategy session this weekend, she said, while brushing her teeth, toothpaste foam in the corner of her mouth. Whole marketing team. Trevor's running it. Might go pretty late, so I'll probably just crash at a hotel nearby instead of driving home. My gut twisted immediately. Strategy session on a Saturday? Yeah, we're launching a major campaign next month. It's all hands on deck. She rinsed and dried her face with the towel I'd just bought. Don't wait up. I'll text you when it's done. Saturday strategy sessions weren't normal. Our hospital had emergency drills and mandatory training, but those were scheduled months in advance, happened during work hours, and everyone complained about them constantly. The IT department had never once scheduled weekend work unless servers were literally on fire. This sounded different. This sounded like an excuse crafted by someone who didn't expect to be questioned. That night, Thursday, she fell asleep on the couch while watching some home renovation show. I was in the kitchen cleaning up dinner dishes when her phone buzzed on the coffee table. The screen lit up with a preview notification that I could see from where I stood holding a dish towel. Could still feel you on me all day. The sender name at the top was Just Tea. I stood there frozen, holding a dish towel, staring at those words. My first instinct was to wake her up, demand an explanation, make her tell me what that meant and who T was, and what the hell was going on. My second instinct, the one I followed, was to be smart about this. Don't react emotionally. Gather information. Get proof. I set down the towel, walked to the couch, and picked up her phone. Her face unlock worked even while she was sleeping. Something about the angle being right. The phone opened. I went straight to her messages. The thread with T filled the screen. I scrolled up, stomach sinking with every swipe. It was Trevor. Weeks of messages. Long ones, short ones. Photos that made my hands shake. A video timestamp from 2 nights ago labeled Thinking of You that I couldn't bring myself to open. Her wearing lingerie I'd never seen in our bedroom. Black lace, expensive looking, bought for someone else. Him writing detailed plans. Tell him it's a team meeting. I booked our usual room at the Marriott downtown. Room 814. Come up around 8. Her replying with my schedule like she was coordinating a military operation. Vincent has his gym session until 7. Then he's meeting Carter for burgers. I can be there by 8:30. They'd been planning around my life like I was an obstacle to work around. Not a person who deserved honesty. Every late night, every work dinner, every Saturday strategy session. It was all there in digital evidence, hotel confirmations forwarded from his email. Inside jokes about keeping things discreet. Her complaining about me being boring and predictable. Him promising to leave his wife eventually, once his kids were older. And the timing was right. The most gut-wrenching messages were the ones where they mocked me. Trevor calling me the network guy, like I was a service provider, not a human being. Natalie laughing about how I never questioned anything, and was so trusting it's almost sad. There was a message from 3 weeks ago where she'd written, Vincent made dinner tonight and asked about my day. I had to lie about a client meeting while all I could think about was you inside me this afternoon. Is it bad that lying to him is kind of exciting? I took screenshots. Methodically, mechanically, I scrolled through 6 weeks of conversations and captured everything. The messages, the photos she'd sent him, the hotel booking confirmations with dates and times. All of it. My hands were steady even as my chest felt hollow. I sent them to my personal email in batches, 10 at a time, making sure each one uploaded successfully before moving to the next batch. Took me 20 minutes to get through everything. Then I put her phone back exactly where it had been, screened down on the coffee table, and sat in the dark living room for a long time. Just sat there processing what I'd seen, what it meant, how long this had been happening under my nose, while I cooked dinners and asked about her day, like a complete fool. When Natalie stirred around 11, I told her I was heading to bed early. She mumbled something about joining me soon and went back to her show. In our bedroom that suddenly felt like a lie, I opened my laptop and started researching. Trevor's LinkedIn was easy to find. His full name was in Natalie's work emails that occasionally came to our shared desktop computer. From there, I found his Facebook profile. His profile picture was professionally done, clearly from some family photo session. Him, his wife, and 2 kids at what looked like a beach resort. Everyone in white linen shirts, golden hour lighting, the whole Instagram perfect family setup. His wife's name was Michelle. Her profile was mostly private, but Facebook Messenger let you send messages to people outside your friends list. I clicked on her profile, opened a new message, and stared at the blank text box for a solid 5 minutes. What do you say to the wife of the man your girlfriend is sleeping with? How do you drop that bomb on a complete stranger? Part of me wanted to just delete everything and pretend I'd never seen it. The other part, the part that kept thinking about those kids in the beach photo, knew I had to tell her I typed 3 sentences and hit send before I could second-guess myself. Hi, Michelle. You don't know me, but I think we need to talk about Trevor and Natalie. I have proof. I closed the laptop, lay down in bed fully clothed, and stared at the ceiling until around 2 a.m. when exhaustion finally pulled me under. The next morning, Friday, Michelle had seen the message. I checked during my break at work, sitting in my car in the hospital parking garage. There were typing indicators, then a reply, Who are you? What is this about? I wrote back, My name is Vincent. Natalie is my girlfriend. I found messages between her and Trevor on her phone last night. A lot of them. I'm not trying to hurt you. I just think you deserve to know the truth. 3 minutes later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. This is Michelle. Her voice was steady, controlled. Do you have screenshots? Yes, a lot. Send them to this email. She rattled off an address. I'll look at them, then we'll talk. I forwarded everything while still sitting in my car. The texts about hotel rooms. The photos. The messages where they joked about their strategy sessions. The notes where Trevor called me the network guy, and Natalie laughed about how I never questioned anything. Reading them again made my stomach turn, but I sent every single one. Michelle replied an hour later. Thank you. It's worse than I thought. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know who. Can we talk tonight? We spoke that evening while I sat in a coffee shop parking lot, phone pressed to my ear. Michelle's voice was calm but tired. I've suspected for months, she said. The late nights, the deleted texts. He'd come home smelling like perfume he claimed was from a client hug. Once he said someone's name in his sleep, a woman's name, and when I asked, he told me it was a coworker he'd been brainstorming with. I'm sorry, I said, though I wasn't sure what I was apologizing for. Don't be, she replied. You didn't do this. They did. I'm not staying married to someone who treats me like this. She paused. When she spoke again, her voice had an edge of steel. Their company has strict policies about relationships between managers and direct reports. If this comes out through the right channels, they'll both lose their jobs. I figured. I want one thing before that happens, Michelle continued. A confrontation. No shouting, no denial, no gaslighting. I want Trevor to see that we both know. And I want it somewhere he can't run away. We made a plan. Trevor's company had a big quarterly meeting the following week. After the presentations, there would be a catered lunch in the main atrium. The event was family-friendly. Spouses and kids were invited. Natalie had asked me weeks ago if I wanted to come. You can finally see where I work, she'd said. I'd agreed. Michelle was planning to attend as Trevor's supportive wife. He had no idea she knew anything. We decided to meet 10 minutes before lunch started, near the main entrance. Then we'd walk in together. The morning of the meeting, I dressed in the button-down shirt Natalie always said looked good on me. Navy blue, well-fitted. If I was going to blow up her life in front of her coworkers, I might as well look put together doing it. I drove to the office park and parked far from the main doors. Sat in my car for a solid 5 minutes, breathing. The building was all sleek glass and chrome, the kind of place that screams, "We take ourselves very seriously." People in lanyards walked past, chatting and laughing, heading inside for lunch. Michelle was waiting by a large potted plant near the entrance. She wore a plain black dress, hair pulled back in a neat bun. When she saw me, she walked over and extended her hand. "Vincent?" "Yeah." "Michelle?" We shook hands. Her grip was firm. "Thank you for telling me," she said quietly. "I know this isn't easy. I'm sorry you had to find out this way." She gave a small, bitter smile. Better than never finding out at all. We positioned ourselves where we could see the atrium doors. After a few minutes, the quarterly meeting let out, and people poured into the lunch area. I spotted Natalie immediately. Red blazer, animated expression, walking next to Trevor. They were laughing about something. She touched his arm. The casual intimacy made something inside me go very still. Michelle stepped forward. "Trevor!" He turned. His smile faltered when he saw her. Then his eyes tracked to me, standing just behind her. Then back to Natalie, whose expression had frozen mid-laugh. "Michelle!" Trevor said, confusion and panic mixing in his voice. "What are you doing here? I thought you weren't—" "We're here to talk about your strategy sessions," Michelle said. Her voice was calm, almost conversational. No shouting, like she'd promised. "The ones you and Natalie have been having at hotels." Natalie's eyes snapped to me. "Vincent? What? Why are you here with her?" I pulled out my phone and opened one of the clearer screenshots. Trevor's name at the top, Natalie in lingerie. A message that read, "Same room as last time, loved the way you looked against the headboard." I held the screen where both of them could see it. "This is what's going on," I said. The color drained from Natalie's face. Trevor's jaw clenched so hard I could see the muscle twitch. "What were you doing on my phone?" Natalie's voice came out sharp, defensive. Michelle answered before I could. "He was finding out why his girlfriend was planning hotel nights with my husband while you both used us as cover." Trevor took a step closer to Michelle, lowering his voice. "We can talk about this at home. Not here." "No," Michelle said firmly. "We'll talk here. You don't get to cheat in secret and then hide the truth in private." People nearby were starting to notice conversations quieted. Heads turned. Natalie looked at me, her eyes filling with something between tears and anger. "It's not what it looks like." "It's exactly what it looks like," I replied. "I have months of messages, photos, dates that line up perfectly with every late meeting you told me about." Her voice stayed sharp despite the tears starting to form. "You could have come to me. You didn't have to drag his wife into this." I held her gaze. "You made it her business the first time you slept with her husband." Trevor put a hand on Natalie's shoulder, trying to steer her away. "We should go upstairs. Talk about this privately." Michelle pulled a small folder from her purse. "Actually, we should talk about this with HR because I have copies of everything Vincent sent me. And your company's employee handbook is very clear about managers engaging in relationships with their direct reports." Trevor's face went white. "You wouldn't—" "I already did," Michelle said. "I sent them everything this morning. Anonymously, from a burner email. By now, someone in HR has probably already flagged your file." Natalie turned on me, her voice rising. "You did this? You sent everything to HR? You're going to cost me my job?" "No," I said. "You did that. I just made sure the right people knew about it." Trevor was trying to salvage something. Anything. "Michelle, please. Think about the kids. Our mortgage. We can work through this." "We're done." Michelle cut him off. "I'm filing for divorce. My lawyer already has copies of everything. You can explain to the kids why you threw away our family for your subordinate." Natalie grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. "Vincent, please, we can fix this. It was just physical. It didn't mean anything. I pulled my arm back. Then pack your things. What? Pack your things. Move out. We're done. You're seriously breaking up with me here, in front of everyone? You seriously expected anything else? Michelle was already walking away, leaving Trevor standing there with his career and marriage crumbling around him. I followed her lead, turning toward the exit. Behind me, I heard Natalie's voice crack. Vincent, wait. I didn't stop, didn't look back, just kept walking until I hit the parking lot, where Michelle was standing by her car, taking deep breaths. You okay? I asked. She nodded slowly. Better than I've been in months, actually. Knowing the truth is better than wondering. She looked at me. You? Same. We stood there for a moment in shared understanding. Then she got in her car and drove away. I did the same. That evening, Natalie came home to find me packing her things into boxes, methodically sorting through 4 years of shared space. Her clothes, her books, her half of the kitchen supplies we'd accumulated. I'd bought a stack of boxes from U-Haul on my way home, along with packing tape and bubble wrap. Was doing this properly, carefully, because even in the middle of a breakup, I couldn't bring myself to just throw her stuff in trash bags. What are you doing? She demanded, dropping her bag in the doorway. Helping you pack. You said it was just physical, so you shouldn't have a problem leaving. Vincent, stop. We need to talk about this like adults. I continued folding her sweaters, placing them in a box labeled bedroom clothes. We can talk, but you're still moving out. She sat on the edge of the couch, arms crossed, watching me pack like I was dismantling her entire world. Which I suppose I was. It was a mistake, a huge mistake. But Trevor pursued me. He made me feel valued at work, seen, appreciated. It just happened. Things don't just happen, Natalie. You made choices. Repeatedly. For months. I moved to the bookshelf, started separating her books from mine. We'd gotten a lot of duplicates over the years. Books we'd both read, books she'd bought that ended up on my side of the shelf I was being meticulous about, only packing things that were definitively hers. I was going to end it, she said, and her voice cracked. I swear I was. I just didn't know how. Trevor kept saying he'd leave Michelle, that we'd be together properly, but the timing was never right. His kids, his mortgage, his career. There was always something. Cool. Now you don't have to figure that out. I wrapped a framed photo of her and her college friends in bubble wrap. Her eyes flashed with anger. You're being cruel. No, I'm being done. There's a difference. She stood up, pacing now. You're really going to throw away 4 years over this? We built a life together. We have plans. A future. Had plans. Past tense. You erased our future the first time you booked a hotel room with your married boss. She tried a different angle, voice softening. What are you going to tell people? Your family? Our friends? Carter? The truth. That you cheated with your married boss and I ended things. I'll tell people you were emotionally controlling, she said, voice rising again, tears streaming now. That you monitored what I did and who I saw. That you made me account for every hour of my day. That's why I looked elsewhere. I felt suffocated. I stopped packing and turned to face her, pointed to a folder sitting on the kitchen counter. I printed copies of the messages, highlighted the particularly damning ones. I have backups on 3 separate cloud drives. You can say whatever you want, but I have proof. Dates, screenshots, hotel confirmations, messages where you explicitly planned around my schedule. Use your words carefully, Natalie, because I will defend myself with facts. She stared at the folder like it was a bomb. The fight visibly drained out of her body. She slumped back onto the couch. I want you out within 2 weeks, I continued, returning to packing. We'll split rent for this month since you're paid through the end anyway. After that, I'll find a roommate or move somewhere smaller. I'm sending you an email tonight with everything in writing, and I'm copying our landlord so there's documentation. She grabbed a tissue from the side table, dabbed at her eyes. You're cold. This whole thing, you're like a robot. Don't you feel anything? No. I'm protecting myself from someone who proved she couldn't. I sealed the box of books with packing tape. I feel plenty, Natalie, but I'm not letting my feelings stop me from doing what needs to be done. The next 2 days were tense. Natalie stayed with a friend that first night, then came back Saturday morning with her mom to start taking boxes. Her mother gave me looks that could kill, but I stayed cordial. Everything's labeled and organized, I told her. Natalie's stuff on the left, shared items we need to split on the right. Her mom looked at the neatly organized boxes, and her expression flickered, like she couldn't reconcile the careful organization with the story Natalie had probably told her about me being a monster. But she didn't say anything, just helped load boxes into her SUV. The next morning, I got an email from HR at Natalie's company. The email was formal, professional, and clearly written by someone who'd been briefed on the situation. Mr. Sullivan, thank you for providing information regarding potential policy violations at our company. We take all allegations seriously and are conducting an internal investigation. Would you be willing to share the evidence you provided to Mrs. Bennett directly with our HR department? This would help expedite our review. All information will be kept confidential to the extent allowed by our investigation process. I forwarded everything. Every screenshot, every message, every photo, every hotel confirmation. Let them see exactly what their manager and his direct report had been doing. Let them see the messages about booking hotels on company credit cards. Trevor had expensed 2 of them as client dinners. Let them see the timestamps showing messages sent during work hours. Let them see Natalie and Trevor planning their affair with the same attention to detail they probably gave their marketing campaigns. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday morning, Natalie called me from an unknown number. I'd blocked her regular one I answered out of curiosity. "They fired us," she said without preamble. Her voice was flat, dead. "Both of us. This morning." HR called us in separately, showed us printouts of the messages, said we violated company policy about fraternization and manager-subordinate relationships. No severance, no references. They're flagging our records. Trevor's wife showed up at the building after his meeting. She was waiting in the parking lot with divorce papers. "Okay," I said, because what else was there to say? "Okay?" Her voice rose. "That's all you have to say? You could have stayed quiet. You could have just broken up with me and moved on. Now we're both unemployed. Trevor's wife is taking him for everything. I have to explain this to every future employer. You destroyed our lives." "No, Natalie. You destroyed your own life. Trevor destroyed his. I just made sure the truth came out instead of letting you two keep lying to everyone who trusted you. I'll never forgive you for this. I'm not asking you to goodbye, Natalie." I hung up and blocked the unknown number too. Michelle sent me an update a few days later via email. "Thank you again for everything. Filed for divorce yesterday. My lawyer reviewed the evidence and said it will help significantly with asset division and custody arrangements." Trevor tried to claim the affair started after we'd already separated, but the timestamps don't lie. The kids are confused and angry, especially at him. They found out from their friends at school before we could tell them. Word travels fast in the company community, but I'm not raising them in a house built on lies anymore. You did the right thing, Vincent. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The social fallout was interesting to watch from the outside. Some mutual friends tried to stay neutral at first. One guy named Riley, who'd been friends with both of us, sent me a careful message. "Hey man, heard about you and Natalie. That's rough. She mentioned it was complicated but wouldn't give details. What happened?" I kept my response simple. "She cheated with her married boss. I found out. We broke up. That's really all there is to it." "Damn, okay. That's not the story she's been telling people." "What's she been saying?" "That you had trust issues and were constantly accusing her of things she wasn't doing. That you isolated her from her friends and monitored her phone. That she met someone who made her feel free and you couldn't handle it." I forwarded him one screenshot. Trevor's message about booking our usual room and Natalie's response with my complete work schedule and gym times. The timestamp was from 3 weeks before the confrontation. Riley replied 2 hours later. "Holy crap. I didn't realize it was like that. I'm sorry, man. That's messed up. Thanks for showing me the truth." Others got the same treatment. When someone approached me with Natalie's version of events, I'd share one carefully chosen screenshot that made it clear this wasn't a misunderstanding or trust issues. It was documented. Planned infidelity. Most people stopped defending her after seeing the proof. Natalie posted something on social media about men who weaponize HR against strong women and people who can't let others live their truth. The post got a fair amount of engagement, her close friends commenting with supportive messages, people who didn't know the full story offering sympathy. But then someone who worked at her company, probably someone who'd been in that atrium during the confrontation, commented, "Is this about the manager who was sleeping with his direct report and both got fired? Because that's not weaponizing HR. That's just consequences for breaking company policy." Natalie deleted the post within an hour. Didn't stop her friends from continuing the narrative in private, but at least she wasn't broadcasting it publicly anymore. I didn't post anything myself, just went to work, maintained my routines, hit the gym. My buddy Carter checked on me regularly, showing up unannounced with takeout, suggesting we go catch a movie, inviting me to join his recreational sports league. One night, we were at his place playing video games until 2 a.m. when he said something that stuck with me. "You handled this better than most people would have. A lot of guys would have gone scorched earth, blown up at the confrontation, trashed her stuff, posted revenge stuff online. You just documented everything, made sure the truth came out through proper channels, and walked away. That takes discipline. I was raised to handle problems like an adult, I replied, eyes on the screen. Your dad did good, man. Mine would have told me to slash her tires and egg Trevor's house. I laughed despite everything. Your dad is a character. He's a character who's been divorced twice and currently can't go within 500 feet of his second ex-wife's property, so maybe not the role model I should be following. By the time Natalie finished moving out completely, took her about 10 days to get everything, my anger had cooled into something else. Not forgiveness, not hatred, just a clear boundary, and the certainty that I'd made the right choices at every step. The apartment felt bigger when she left, quieter. I could actually breathe deeply without feeling like I was waiting for the next lie to surface. About 9 months later, Natalie texted me out of nowhere. Can we talk? One time, no drama. I stared at the message for a while, debated ignoring it entirely, then replied, we can meet at the coffee shop on Maple, Sunday at 2, public place, 1 hour. Okay, thank you. Sunday afternoon, I walked into the coffee shop and found her already sitting at a corner table. She looked different, thinner, tired, hair in a messy bun instead of the sleek style she used to maintain. No professional clothes, just jeans and a plain sweater. Hi, she said as I sat down. Hey, we ordered coffee, sat across from each other in awkward silence until she finally spoke. I wanted to say I'm sorry for what I did, for how I reacted when you found out. I waited, drinking my coffee. I lost my job, she continued. Trevor lost his. Michelle filed for divorce. He moved into some terrible apartment. His kids barely speak to him. My parents are disappointed. I'm working part-time at a call center now. It's a mess. Okay. I know I did this, she said quickly. I'm not blaming you. You told the truth. I thought I could handle it. Keep everything separate. Be with you, but have this thing with Trevor that was just about feeling wanted at work. I was wrong. Yes, you were. She looked up at me. I miss you. You were good to me. You were steady, reliable. I didn't appreciate that then. I know I don't deserve anything from you now. I just wanted to see if there was any chance we could try again. I thought about the messages, the hotel nights, Michelle's tired voice on the phone, the look on both their faces in that atrium when reality crashed down. No, I said. There isn't. She flinched slightly. Not even after all this time? I've changed. You've had consequences, I replied. That's not the same as change. Maybe you're different now. Maybe not. But I'll never trust you again. And that's enough reason to say no. I wouldn't do it twice, she said. I learned. You did it to someone's family while you were with me, while Michelle's kids were at home thinking their dad was at work. That tells me what you're capable of. When it's convenient, I take that seriously. She looked down at her cup. I'm alone. Trevor's a mess. His kids hate him. Michelle won't let him near the house without supervision. Most of my friends picked sides and didn't pick mine. I feel like I blew up my entire life. I let a few seconds pass. You did, and now you have to build a new one without me. Then why did you agree to meet? So you could say your piece, I answered. So I could know I gave you one chance to be honest. I've heard you. My answer is still no. We finished our coffee in silence. When I stood to leave, she stayed seated. Take care, Natalie. You too, Vincent. I walked out into ordinary daylight, got in my car, drove home, and that was that. It's been almost 2 years since that afternoon in the atrium. The whole situation feels like it belongs to someone else's life now. The lease is in my name only. I have a roommate named Ben, who pays rent on time, does his dishes most of the time, and minds his own business. Normal problems. Work gave me a promotion last year. I lead the security team now. More responsibility, better pay, actual vacation days I can use without guilt. Michelle's divorce went through about a year ago. She kept the house. Trevor pays child support and sees the kids on a supervised schedule. She sent me a brief email when everything was finalized. Thank you again. I'm tired, but I'm free. The kids are adjusting. I hope you're doing well. From what I hear through the grapevine, Natalie still works at that call center. She tried freelancing and marketing for a while, but her name carries weight in the industry now, and not the good kind. She rents a small place with a roommate. Her social media presence, which used to be carefully curated success posts, is basically silent now. Trevor took a job in another state at a much smaller company. Someone from his old team told me his title is lower, his salary is less, and he's basically starting over. His LinkedIn occasionally has posts about second chances and learning from mistakes. I don't follow him, but mutual connections mean I see things sometimes. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.